Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I'm headed from Sibulan down to Dumaguete.
Yes, sir. Hello.
What if I want to go to the island? What's it called?
The mystical island.
Yeah,
The Sikior?
Siquijor.
Yeah. Ma'am, wait, for us, sir.
Go ahead.
Nakabasa ka ng Halimaris, ma'am? Ano siya?
Pero, Bisaya to. Hindi ako lang.
Sir, basa lang ng Halimaris, sir. Barato lang sa Dumaguete, sir. Nanay, wifi diya. Kailangan sa signboard ba? Na signboard.
Can I rent this and go to Siquijor on it?
Sir, you can take tricycle direct to the port.
In Dumaguete?
Yeah, then if you wish, I will to take tricycle for you.
Okay, all right.
Just get inside, sir. Just by the over there.
Huh?
Just pass over here, then. You can through that place.
All right.
Diyan ka niya turn here. Hello, thanks, sir. Nice go.
Well, I want to go to Dumaguete.
Okay, we're in Dumaguete, sir.
Huh?
Which part of Dumaguete?
You know CL Hotel?
CNA, okay, 150 or special?
Oh, no.
It's a regular rate from here, sir.
I'm not paying 150, no. You're going to Dumaguete?
Dumaguete?
Huh?
Bicycle? Sir,
How much?
where are you going, sir?
Dumaguete.
Where in Dumaguete? First,
CNL Hotel.
what?
CNL?
CNL by view.
Yeah, the hotel.
Yeah. Bicycle?
How much?
Only one?
Huh?
Only one?
No, you can have many.
200.
So the fare went from 150 to 200 for a tricycle from Sibulan, and I found this Tourist Certified Drivers Association fare rate in Dumaguete at the port, and they rate from Sibulan into Dumaguete as 120 pesos. I end up finding a motorbike driver who quoted me 100, and I didn't want to spend much more time haggling and negotiating. $2 US, no big deal, so I jumped on the back of that. The driver told me it was 12 kilometers into Dumaguete. It didn't seem like it was that far, but it was a bit of a ride, and I've seen another figure that had it quite a bit less than that, but regardless, 100 pesos was a fair price in the end, I thought. And a lot of times I will try when there's a lot of options there at a place. If a guy gives me a fair price up front and doesn't try to overcharge me, I will reward them at the other end just for being honest with me and not trying to overcharge me. It's not a lot of money, 200 pesos, $4 US, but it becomes the principle of the thing. Somebody trying to take advantage of you, thinking that you just got off the boat, which I just did. Now, each island, each region of the Philippines has a little bit different character, a little different personality. The vehicles, the types of tricycles are different. I understand that there's virtually no taxis in the Dumaguete area. And one thing I was a little bit surprised by is it seems to be much cleaner and the streets wider than they are generally in Cebu City, where I've been living for about 2.5 years. And I will be honest with you, like many of you, I have watched many of the vloggers in Dumaguete, and I was afraid to come to Dumaguete for a long time. It seems that everyone has a very difficult time crossing the road there, so I assume that it was probably the most dangerous place in the world in which to walk and try to cross the road. And I spent about a day and a half there, and it was with great trepidation I went outside of my hotel room and tried to attempt to cross the roads in Dumaguete City. the horror stories I've heard from many vloggers about how difficult that is. Anyway, I will save that perhaps for the next video. It's an interesting town. It's much smaller than Cebu City, much smaller. It's still a good-sized city. Has several malls. It's got a boardwalk. It's got an area, kind of a park-like area, right along the sea, and lots of restaurants and bars and food stands, and I found a really good burger place there. I was searching for a really good, juicy burger, and I asked around a bit and got a few suggestions, but the directions really weren't very clear to me, so I just started walking, and finally come upon a place, and I will do a review of that on my next video. And I don't mean Jollibee or McDonald's, although there are at least 2 or 3 of them in town, I believe. My impression of Dumaguete City, and I've been there one other time as well, about a year and a half ago, is that there's a larger percentage of expats, foreigners that live there. And I've heard a couple people who live there comment that you will continue to run in to the same people at the same places day in, day out. There again, depends on what your lifestyle, where you're going. But if you're hitting the McDonald's and the different types of restaurants, I did notice an awful lot of foreigners down on the boardwalk at the different restaurants and bars. There is an airport on the outskirts of Dumaguete, and a person can fly there. I'm not sure if they have flights every day. That changes as the different airlines get set up. Also, Cebu City over on Mactan Island, the international airport there, I think in the next month or so, July, I believe they're going to have the opening ceremonies for the big second modern terminal there at Mactan Airport on Mactan Island, just across from Cebu City. And so they will be able to accommodate more jets, more airlines, and I suspect that as the tourism grows, I think they're expecting like 12 million people a year, something like that, into the Cebu Airport, Mactan. And tourism is increasing each year. But this was part of a trip. I took a diving trip to Mole Bowl on the west side of Cebu Island, and then I took a bus from Mole Bowl down to the south end of Cebu Island, and took a ferry across to Dumaguete. And I think the ferry cost me about 200 pesos, I believe, or $4 US. This was the week before school starts again in many of the public schools in the Philippines, June 4th, I believe. And so a lot of the stores were full of kids buying all their new clothes and supplies and that type of thing. So there was a couple stores I was thinking about getting something, and the crowd was so big I just finally gave up on that idea. But anyway, I kind of enjoy Dumaguete. I think I could live there for a while. I think eventually I would want to move on to a little bit bigger city. Check out Iloilo City, Bacolod City, a couple cities I want to visit. Davao City down in Mindanao. I would definitely want to visit Baguio City up north of Manila, up in the hills. That's much cooler temperature up there, up in the mountains. It is good to get out of town, out of Cebu City, wherever you live. Sometimes you just need a break from the routine, and it's like going to work out or going for a walk or going to do something. That first step is the important step, just starting on your journey. And for me, it was a diving trip I was invited along with. And once I got out of town, it's like, man, I need to stay out of town for a few days and see some things and just continue to travel. And that's what I did. I stayed here overnight and half the next day, and then I went to the ferry again in Dumaguete and took a ferry over to Siquijor, considered the mysterious island, the haunted island. And didn't see any witches, didn't see any haunted places, to my knowledge anyway. But it was an interesting trip. And then from there I went back to Cebu City. And I will be doing some videos about Siquijor. And rented a motorbike over there and went around the island. A very interesting island. I stayed at the C&L Suites Hotel. They've got 2 of those in town, one on this main street, basically, and another one down closer to the sea. And this guy took me to this one. I walked in, they had a room that was going to be available shortly, so I took it. And anyway, it included breakfast buffet, which wasn't a big layout, but it sufficed. They had a guy trying to cook eggs for everybody the way they wanted them. That was a very challenging task. I admire him for trying. And it cost me, I think, 1,150 pesos. A little over, about $13 or so for the night, so it was a pretty good rate. And walking distance to the boardwalk. Anyway, thank you for coming along. Please like, please share the video, please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at. And we'll see you next time.